Here we are back together again. Roz and Gas, take 5 on the worldwide PuckNet.
The
I'm changing. You want to stick with PuckMax? I was going to try PuckNet, but yeah, you're right. Let's stick with PuckMax.
or pucknet.org or, Pornhub Puck. I don't know, whatever you want to use. Anything works for, we never hear from him. I think you do. I never hear from Puck except when I'm telling him that we're late or we screwed up or we need help. I think he looks at me as like the guy who comes in with problems, and you're like the prodigal son to him.
No. Although I can say this much: me and Gas would love to drive for Brad Brotherton too. So
Yeah,
Puck knows that I'm listening to the show.
yeah, that's right. That's
Heard
right.
Jim Moore bringing that up today, and it's great that Puck has us on here. It's a great distributing point for us. We're still having a good time. Hope you are too.
Yeah, and as we said, Puck has built a nice little thing, and basically what he's doing for us, which you need to know this if you're a regular Groz with Gas listener, because it won't surprise you at all. He's doing like the 2 or 3 small little things that we can't be bothered to do, basically, is what it comes down to. Stuff that either one of us could learn in about 1 minute, but we're like, if you could do this,
Not
it'd
for it. Not for it.
fantastic. Well, Groz, who's off the top of your head? Do you know who's the favorite right now among the betting American public to win the 2025 Major League Baseball World Series?
3.5 to 1. The American League's top choice. I think the Dodgers are still the best, a little ahead of that to win the World Series, but they're second or third at worst. But they're the pick today. I think it's on DraftKings and maybe on a few others to win the American League. They're considered the best team in the American League, and why not, Gas?
Yeah.
The last 2 weeks they've been the best team in the American League.
Since the trade deadline, I think they're either 9-1 or 10-1. And they're
Nine
just
to 1 homestand, yeah.
they're winning. And now, granted, they had Tampa and the White Sox, and you do have to acknowledge that okay. So the competition, you didn't know what they're going to face this week. The Orioles may be the most disappointing team in baseball, but then you got the Mets, you got the Phillies, you got some tough squads you'll be facing. And I saw something where it said that between now and the end of August, the Mariners have, for whatever it's worth, the toughest road. That they've got games. They got to play Cleveland. They got this East Coast road trip we talked about. They got the Tigers on the back end of the trip, I think. Or no, excuse me, it's the Orioles, the Mets, and the Phillies. Then they get a break with the A's, but then the Padres and the Guardians. So between now and the end of August, you've got the Mets, you've got the Phillies, you've got the Padres, you've got the Guardians, and 3 of those are on the road. So you're playing well, and that's good. But as you would expect, the degree of difficulty goes up.
Well, and you know what? I mean, I don't remember last year exactly, but they did a similar sort of thing last year. Remember in August they had the great run, and then all of a sudden they pratfalled right out of it and were
Right.
blew a big huge lead. So I remember saying, hope they don't give it all up now. They're not playing their best baseball now. The best baseball still to come. But it's been really good. It's been really, really good. I mean, the 2 acquisitions have been great, Gas. I think that's the thing that jumps
Yeah.
out to me in the first 2 weeks is that Naylor and Suarez have been exactly what you wanted, exactly what you needed.
You put a little bit of pop in the lineup and a little bit of consistent hitting, and everybody else suddenly looks better. Funny how that works. And then, again, I think it was a pretty obvious move, but when you got that pop, you could move a Rosarina to the leadoff and drop Crawford to the ninth, and it's been great. I mean, the lineup has been fantastic. I was at the baseball match last Thursday afternoon when the Mariners defeated the White Sox 4-3
Right.
in 11 innings. And what struck me about that game, and again, the confidence this builds for the whole team and for the manager and for his staff, is that Wilson used every guy on his roster. And he didn't use every pitcher, obviously, but he used every guy on the roster in an 11-inning game. And was set up by the end of it. If it had gone 12 or 13 or 14, he had, decent guys in decent positions. But every button he pushed kept working. And a good crowd. It was a fun day. And again, we talk about a team building confidence, and I've never thought of Dan as some shrinking, violent, or unconfident guy, but it's got to be helping him to have some of these things work too, right? Your first year on the job, you want to be able to look yourself in the mirror and go, I think I know what I'm doing here.
Absolutely right. I mean, he still is learning on the job, obviously. I mean, he knows, not saying he doesn't know baseball, but being a manager, it's a different sort of job than just being on the team. And, he's made some, bonehead plays in games, bonehead moves in games, which is going to happen with guys. But he has created the tone that they're having the success in. Remember, they finished very very good with him last year. I think 7 or 8 games over 500 the last month or so of the season that he played. So he really, despite maybe not doing this, that, and the other thing, is winning. It reminds me of a lot of other managers who have been, maybe accused of not being the best at, pushing the buttons, but are the best at setting team up to win, feeling like they can win. And that's what's happening here. I mean, this is an amazing first year for him. If it goes the way we hope it can go, can you imagine Dan Wilson in his first year wins the World Series?
Yeah. How about that? I mean, it would be incredible. And just breaking them through, this road trip is a good thing too, because you do have some new faces, and now they'll all really get to know each other. Guys have told us that in the past, where they say, obviously you'd rather be at home. But being on the road means you're going out to dinner together, you're going out having beers together. You're not going home, and that can be a chance. Not that they don't know Suarez, but Naylor's a new guy, Caleb Ferguson's a new guy. You've got some new faces there. And nothing's going to help them all gel better than A, being together a lot, and B, winning. That's the best tonic of all.
Well, definitely. And they just have had a lot of things in that aspect go right. I mean, they had an unbelievable number of extra inning games this year, and they've been very, very effective in most of them. And that's something that nice to have under your hat, that you're already confident in the extra inning situation. You played a lot of the year without your best pitchers, and now you have them going. You've got, these guys we talked about have added to the team exactly what the team needed, which is another thing that kind of builds confidence a little bit. So I think I like the way people are thinking about him. I think there's a reason to think about him that way, because look around the American League right now, Gas. I mean, the Yankees I don't know what's happening with the Yankees. I mean, Aaron Boone's, that red light is flashing in the corner, man. I mean, I'm surprised he kept the job after yesterday, to tell you the truth. But I mean, they haven't done anything. They still can get back into it, obviously. Boston is thought of as a contender, but, they haven't really done much. Toronto made a move. We'll see if they're for real or not. Detroit has not been good the second half of the season. The Mariners drilled them when they played them. So, Houston had the big lead. It's faded now, and they're falling out of it a little bit. So, they're the one team that's playing the best right now, and if they can maintain it for a while, absolutely the sky's the limit. I kind of feel like, I heard Jim Moore say this with Puckett today on Monday, that, this feels like a different team than the ones they've had before that have contended. You always kind of see a potential monkey in the wrench down the road, or some issue that might jump up and get them. I just don't see it on this year's team right now. I mean, I see a team with depth of the pitching staff, with a great closer, with a solid bullpen, good position players, good defense, got speed, got power. I mean, am I missing something?
And they've got confidence. Like you said, they're beating the good teams. Not always, but they've, it's not like a few years ago when they got in and they still kind of had Houston as your bête noire out there to get them. And they did. They're handling teams. They're building confidence. I love, I hope Naylor can stay healthy. I know he's been battling a couple things this year, and he had a little twinge, and he had to come out of the game the other day. And again, Wilson pushed the right buttons to get through that. I love him. I love his attitude. Did I see this right? Did I read this right? That somebody, because he's always got that intense look on his face, that they've hung the nickname "the Big Grumper" on him. Have you seen that? Is that true?
No, I'm not. I'd be perfect, though.
I think that's awesome. They got the Big Dumper and the Big Grumper out there.
Oh, that's fabulous.
Yeah, they're. I agree with with Jim's sentiment that they do. They look. It just feels different, and it just feels. And it probably feels different because of what you said a few minutes ago. They went out and got the guys they needed rather than Band-Aids. They went out, rather than trying to sell. So hey, we got this guy, and we've got him for a few years, and no, they went out and said, look, we're going to get 2 guys. We need a first baseman and a third baseman. Who are the best available? And they went and got them. And that's probably why they look different right now. There's still 48 days left in the season, which baseball is such a grind, man. 48 days. So plenty of time for wheels to spin off on anybody's team. But I like where they are right now. How can you not? How can you not like where they are?
I know, man. Very exciting. Very exciting. And I like them. I like them to get there and do some damage, assuming they stay healthy. What else we had one more thing on the Mariners was Ichiro's weekend, which was terrific. Ichiro's speeches was terrific. I thought that's another one of those feel good things that's happening around this team. Jay Buhner's been around for some broadcasts this year. You've got some of the old guys around, some of the guys who've had success here around, and it's never a bad idea to be around those guys. Never a bad idea to have them as part of what's going on. And of course, we've got it with the manager and Edgar anyway. So yeah, I thought it was a great ceremony, great job by Rick Riz, and Ichiro looked terrific, and I think the statue is obviously well deserved.
I liked, well, I loved actually. I'll take you back to the Edgar Hall of Fame thing in 2019. It was the last time I talked to Randy Johnson. And I talked to him about, they're going to retire your number. And he goes, well, no, they're going to do it for Ichiro. I go, probably do it for Ichiro. I had no inside knowledge. So I go, they got to include you somehow. And he was kind of, I don't want to say typical Randy, but he was like, look, I just don't think it's going to happen. I just don't think it's going to. And I don't know who talked to him, I don't think there was any waters that need to be smoothed over, but said, look, man, we can do this same thing for you. There's nothing that says we can't retire a number twice. And we want you to come in and be a big part of the Ichiro weekend. And for Randy to say, yeah, I want to do that. I loved seeing him as much as anybody. And it's always been a tricky relationship, and people have groused about certain things about him. But you go back to 95 and that season he had, it's incredible what he did. His career's incredible, and I just love the picture of him holding up the 5 and Ichiro holding up 1, and that they, and for all the right reasons, there's a ton of mutual respect there, as there should be, and to have put it together and to be able to announce it this year that, hey, you know what, next summer we're going to do this for Randy. We're going to retire, and I don't know what they do. Do they put up another 51? Do they just put his name next to Ichiro's? Either way, it's cool. Why not recognize both of them?
Well, and you know who made the biggest deal about it? Ichiro.
Right.
He spoke the most about it, Ichiro. I mean, he's the one, he spoke more about Randy Johnson and sharing the 51 than anyone else, was just smoothing over a potential rough spot that wasn't one. And I thought Randy looked stone-faced out there. I think he was doing it, not going to say in a protest, but wasn't necessarily thrilled by the idea. I think Ichiro melted him. I mean, I think he made it real different. And that's a credit to Ichiro for being, just having uncanny instincts all over the thing. All over the field. I think him being involved, Gas, with this baseball team in any way possible is a good thing, and that's got to remain, and I hope it does. And I don't have any reason to think that it's not going to stay around, but he is such a plus to have around that club that I hope it continues.
And I say he's been around for a couple of years now. It's again the quirkiness of Ichiro, where he came back and said, "I want a locker. I want to be able to get dressed every day." And okay. Why not? Why not have you around? I think I told you that what I heard was that at first, like, look, just help the players. He said, okay, sure. And then for a while, he wasn't helping anybody. And I said, Ichiro. And he says, no, I'm not going to help anybody unless they ask me. That would be wrong of me to assume they want my hand. No, they want your help, man. So they had to tell the players, listen, when you need something, go to him, and he'll be happy to help you out. So you're right. It's great to have him involved.
All right, I want to change the subject here a little bit, and I got an impression for you.
Okay.
You like impressions, yes?
I like impressions. I hope I could pick up who it is.
I'm Geno Smith.
I didn't think he had to say that. I don't have any problem with this. I mean, for all we know, Geno knew the guy. I guess the guy's a regular at Seahawks games, and he always has signs harassing the visiting teams, and he had a sign harassing Geno. I didn't think it was a big deal, and everybody seemed to be revved up about it. People shoot the bird all the time. It's no big deal.
And Max Crosby did it as well, but Max Crosby did something much more important than that. He wore a Kevin Durant jersey into the game.
Yeah,
I mean, he's my favorite opposing player, I think, right now. But I mean, that was a fun. We thought it'd be fun to have Pete Carroll back in town chomping his gum, and it was. Yeah. It was just a fun time, fun to have him around, and it was the first exhibition game, so it sucked like they always do. But that having been said, it was close to the end. Pete, was himself, and it was a good way to start for the Seahawks, as far as I'm concerned.
Absolutely was, and you said a few weeks ago you're going to get yourself. Huh? Yeah, I'm right here. Yeah, you hear me? You see me?
I hear you now. I see you now. Yep, I see you.
All right,
I hear you.
No, I was Jalen Milroe. You were going to get his jersey a few weeks ago. I don't know if you've done it yet, but. Look, I think Darnold's going to be the starter, obviously, but you want Milroe to be successful. You want this guy to push him for all the obvious reasons, not the least of which is you spent a lot of capital getting him. And his first performance, again, in an exhibition game, I thought he looked fine. He acquitted himself well and did the things that they're hoping he can do for them on a regular basis.
I think there's going to be a point. I haven't gotten the jersey yet. I want to get it, though, because I told you I like him. I like the way he's conducting himself. I think that there's going to be a package or two in for him. He's going to, they're saying that, he's the third stringer. I'm not saying he's going to be the starter or anything like that, but he is going to get some plays. They're going to set up some plays for him for certain games and certain circumstances. They're going to use that athletic ability this year. So I think he's going to be a part of the club, and he's an interesting weapon. He's a very interesting weapon because he kind of showed a little bit of what he's got. He's, I mean, not quite the polished quarterback he needs to be yet, but he's got plenty of time for that. Plenty of
Right.
time for that, I think he's. I like seeing those guys who are X factors. The old Seahawks, Pete Carroll was great at picking up those guys who just, had an impact. And
Right.
he strikes me as a guy who's just an impact player when he's out there. So they're going to find out a way to use him some this year, I have no doubt.
I kind of like. I go back and forth on the idea of taking out when you've got like a classic quarterback, a tier one quarterback, as Mike Sando would put it in The Athletic. When you've got a tier one guy, I wouldn't take him out of the game very often. But if you're not Mahomes or one of the great, why not take a quarterback out every once in a while for the change of pace? It's funny. Don James always used to talk about that. Why is that the one position where everybody freaks out? Because you sub everybody in a game. There's you take the best player out for 2 or 3 plays just so he can have a Gatorade and relax for a minute, and you're getting other guys reps. But quarterback, everybody freaks out about it. Why not use weapons if you've got them? Unless Sam Darnold is the greatest quarterback in history, which I think Sam's hopefully going to be good, but he's not the greatest quarterback in history. You're not harming yourself if you take him out for a series or 2, right? I mean,
No.
you see what I'm saying?
Absolutely, absolutely. And look, I can see Milroe being on the field with him too.
Yeah.
That's something that's done a lot too. So it'll be very interesting seeing how they use him, how Clint Double K Kubiak, handles him because he's got a toy to play with there on offense. And I'm curious to see how it plays for him because they're going to need some help. I think scoring points. That's not going to change for me watching the preseason because the preseason doesn't mean anything there. But with the new receivers, with the situation they've got, still unresolved in the offensive line with some guys, the new quarterback, as we know, third new system in, they're gonna need some big plays on offense. They're gonna need some big surprising plays on offense. You need playmakers for that. You've got a few of them, and so you got a chance to be creative with this offense, I think, because the defense, you can see things from them that already should have you a little excited. I mean, they again, first game, nothing, but just the speed of some of those guys, the way the rookie's looking, especially that linebacker, just very, 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 very good first game.
And when you get your Jalen Milroe's jersey, I'm going to try and get my Shadur Sanders jersey.
Yeah.
You and I are both on his bandwagon, and I see that he's got some edges that need a little, or maybe they don't need a little sanding. Maybe that's just how he's going to be. That's fine by me.
He's Deion's son, man.
Right, and he was as exciting a guy as I think there was in college football the last 2 years. I loved watching him. I mean, you never knew what was coming next with that guy. And you talk about a franchise that's needed an injection of that kind of attitude. And again, I know I'm riffing off one exhibition game. I realize the foolishness of that, but I'm sure rooting for the guy. I absolutely love him. I love his style and his and so far so good with him.
I'll make a prediction. He starts more games for the Cleveland Browns than anyone this year. I think Flacco will start as the quarterback, but I think before it's all said and done, Sanders is going to be out there playing because he is a playmaker. Again, maybe not completely polished, but he's a guy who played under a really bad offensive line,
Right.
in college, noticeably bad offensive line in college, and was stellar. So, I mean,
Right.
he's going to be, with Deion as his dad, in the eye of the hurricane sort of press-wise, nothing's going to phase him. I think he makes the transition very easily, and yeah, the Browns could certainly use it. They can certainly use some good news there on the lake because they haven't had any in a long time. So I thought Shadur Sanders was great this weekend too. Definitely rooting for him.
And then your boy Cam Little, who banged home a 70-yard field goal in the Jaguars game against the Steelers. And the reason I bring that up is because it makes you think with the training methods and just how much technology and science is involved in guys getting bigger, stronger, and faster and all that. You wonder what the outer limit is, and when we'll see. We've seen a 70-yard field goal now. It was in a game that doesn't count, but we've seen one. What is the outer limit of that? It's funny to think. I remember seeing like Casey Keller, and it was near the end of his career, but he was still strong, and he'd punt the ball. And granted, he didn't have a bunch of guys running at him, but
Right.
I'd go, look at how far that ball went in the air. I mean, guys can obviously do it. And I love it. I love seeing the boundaries pushed on that. And it doesn't have to be in Denver in thin air. It can happen in Jacksonville in humid air. And 70 yards is 70 yards, man.
Yeah, very impressive, very impressive. And I don't think they know what the limits are of those guys yet.
No, No, they don't. And then one nod, I think, to the again, it's just a feel good time of the year. The Seahawks are unbeaten. The Mariners are rolling, and your favorite football club, the Sounders FC, are now I think 7-0-3 over their last 10
Wow.
matches. They haven't lost since the FIFA, the World Club Cup tournament, where they lost to three pretty good European teams. Botafogo came in like their South American team. PSG got them. Atletico Madrid, I think. But anyway, since then they have not lost a match, and they're rolling. They drilled the hated LA Galaxy last night. Although everybody's been doing that lately, so. But no tip of the cap to Brian Schmetzer, who once again has the Sounders right in the thick of things for MLS with about a month and a half or so to go until the playoffs start. So they just keep rolling, guys. They just seem to win all the time, and I think that's good, isn't it?
They are the best program, the best professional team, I think, in all sports. Just when you look at what they've done since the day they arrived, consistency that they've played with over the years, always making the postseason, getting a championship or two, getting to a lot of goals getting done, and continuing to be the flag bearer. I mean, you look at the NFL, Gas, and it's Jerry Jones's Cowboys. Who are
Right.
dysfunctional and shitty, and Jones in my book is just a guy who ruined the Cowboys. Is a former Cowboys fan. They've been in the playoffs 5 times in 29 years or something like that.
Yeah.
They're the face of the NFL. I mean, they are because it's a circus. Well, the Sounders are because of how they play.
Right. Right. And entered the league in '09. This is the 25 season. Once they missed the playoffs. About 4 years ago, 5 years ago, they missed. Other than that, they've been in it every time. They're two-time league champs, I think. They've won the cup for having the best season. No, it's a great organ. I mean, when people do these the crazy Mount Rushmore things, if you're doing a coaching Mount Rushmore in Seattle, Schmetz is on there. I don't know. I mean, Don James probably is on there. There's some others, and you can argue about some of them. Pete obviously has got to be on there. Lenny, I guess Lenny goes on. But maybe there's somebody I'm overlooking. There's some great guys, but Schmetz has got to be in there. I mean, the guy he's unflappable. He's the most unflappable guy ever, and good for him.
Definitely. Well, it's a good time to be in Seattle, apparently.
It is. Would you like an animal story, Groz?
Well, of course.
Of course, and I found this off BuzzFeed from a guy named Space Daddy, where you can just contribute your own fun animal stories. So I'm going to read you the prose of Space Daddy, which I think you'll like. I used to live deep in the mountains, and one night I was making my way home when a bush in front of me started moving. It wasn't a bush, it was a fucking brown bear. He came flying out, making intense bear noises. I legged it up the hill and then turned and flung a plastic bag of Caesar salad at him like it was a glorified hand grenade. The bear chased me all the way to my porch and finally ran up the side of the mountain, still yelling and making bear noises. Then I went back and got the salad and had dinner.
Oh my God! Can you just imagine the scared shitless feeling that would? I can't even imagine that feeling.
I've seen one in the wild, and it wasn't like so close to me, but it was close. It was like 30 yards, maybe 25 yards.
That was enough.
Because there was a few of us hiking, and we heard a noise. And I go, boy, that sounds like it would sound if a bear was scrambling up a tree. And by God, there was a brown bear scrambling up a tree. And we had one of the guys was like, well, let's keep going. I'm like, no, we're turning around. Right now, go back to the car.
This is bear country.
It's bear country. All right, Snippy Cat, good to see you.
Okay, brother.